Welcome back to another tier list. I do these occasionally on my channel. They're a little bit of fun, nothing to take super seriously, but it allows me to talk about a certain section of the game. Thank you to Archer for setting this one up. First and foremost, before we get into it, if I make any, if I forget any of these heroes or make any mistakes in that way, I am going to be defaulting to D tier because I had to research a lot of these constructors because I forgot what they did, and that is because Plasma Pulse, Decoy, Bull Rush, and Rosie are fairly not great abilities, and most of the heroes I forgot had something to do with that. For example, we can just stick those in there. Now, I'm going to start with the easy S tiers. Base Kyle and Power Base Nox and Penny are insane. He buffs your build by 80% and Power Base heals it by 11% every 10 seconds. These two pair great together. If you have a teammate running one of these, somebody else should be running the other in the lead. Or if you have any of these heroes as your commander, he should be in support. Both of these should be in support for every build. And that includes if you're running someone like Mega Base. Mega Base increases the base size by 3 in every direction, which adds up to be a lot. And 1 in support. Really, really good just to make your base bigger overall. It's the most basic awesome bonus there can be, other than health. And he also gives you the supercharged traps ability. By being a mythic constructor in the base game set, supercharged traps buffs all of your traps based on how many constructors you have in support. It's a really, really good team perk. So these are, in my opinion, like the big 3 core constructors. These fit well into any base loadout in the game. So from there, we're basically just having fun. So let's go from left to right. 8-bit demo. I am putting in A tier. He's not universal enough to be S tier, but he gives you a 20% chance for rocket launchers not to consume ammo, and that is nuts. He should absolutely be paired, if possible, with Demolitionist Penny, who buffs your rockets by 17% in support, 50% in the lead. I use her in the Mythic Storm King fights. Extremely strong, because we're using the Storm King's Wrath or the Pot Shot. They both get buffed, and the two of these should be in the same loadout, but aren't always, because I like to run him with a Warcry build. She's the Warcry lead is a soldier, so she's not going to be in our list, but whew, that is a really nice build, but it requires a lot of cooldown for Warcry, so Demolitionist doesn't always fit. That said, yeah, those two are very, very great for buffing launchers. Bomb Suit Kyle, I don't think he's that useful personally, but a lot of people value him. I'll put him in A tier because he just gives you extra armor and support, and it's just nice. I mean, you just die less. I mean, he fits into any loadout in the entire game. Straight up. Any loadout. Doesn't even need to be a constructor build. Ankylo Kyle, easy F tier, because he gives you health from certain conditions. I don't even know, dude. Let me find it. Ankylo Kyle, because I'm going to be pulling up my collection book a lot here. Let's go to the historic heroes. Yep, find him. What's he doing here again? Kinetic Overload heals you. Yeah, Kinetic Overload is not that strong. I've had a lot of people swear by him, but I have just never seen the value in that. So this is my tier list. I'm putting him in F. It's really not that useful. Who is useful is Arlene Iza. She gives you health based on melee life leech. I'll put that in B tier. I'll put that, I don't know. Archer wants me to put it in A. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's never blown me out of the water, but if you are running a crit build melee and you're running like, totally rocking out or something, she can be a really, really great support perk to heal you throughout the entire fight. I'm putting her in B because she is not the best healing option in the game. Do I even have to remind everybody coconuts exist? But she is super good for those melee builds, and depending on your loadout, she could be an S tier, critical to staying alive, but I think as a general standpoint, she stacks at about a B in the healing, department. Birthday Brigade, I don't even know, Plasma Pulse situation, I'm going to put her in D. Like I said, I'm not going to waste time looking up every single hero. Constructor, I think it was Bull Rush or something. I'm going to get rid of a lot of heroes that did not impress me. Magnus buffs your Rosie turret as it stacks up over time. That's honestly a C tier. Him and Earhart are both C tier because Rosie, 25% from Earhart, pretty good. But Rosie's not an ability you should be like crutching on or anything. It's pretty good for like against mini bosses, but it's not anything insane. Controller Harper reduces the cooldown of the what am I trying to think of here? Decoy. Thank you for following, Dazus. He's decoy damage. Is he decoy damage? Okay, this is where we're gonna have to consult because I just did like a cram session prior to recording this, and it's ridiculous how many heroes I had to memorize. He is what are we looking for here? We're looking for the holiday section, right? No. Where is he? I always forget these heroes. Somebody help me, chat. Because okay, there are so many constructors in this game that is just they're not that useful, and they're not heroes that we use very often, so they honestly just get forgotten about, and that is what's happening here. I'm very, very, very well educated in this game, but these are like the dark, shadowy corner heroes that we barely ever touch. And that's why I thought this would make a fun tier list. Yeah, Decoy deals 6 base damage. I was thinking about the Krampus guy. My apologies, I got a couple of these mixed up. I'm going to put Krampus in his spot, and Decoy doing 6 base damage is really not huge. I'll put him in low C tier next to Controller Harper, who reduces the Decoy cooldown, because Decoy can be very useful, but it's not insane. And there is an insane one that we did find. Was it Riot Response? Because there was a hero that did 51 base damage from a decoy explosion, and that is actually a lot. Like, that's considerable for a support perk, but I literally can't even remember which hero that was. I'm gonna rely on chat. You know, it was Kyle the 13th. No, it wasn't. There's so many freaking heroes that I've never even touched before on this list, and it's driving me nuts. Saboteur? I don't know, man. I think it was Saboteur. So Kyle the 13th is the decoy reflection. Saboteur is going to be one in the cyber. This is going to be a much more casual video than usual, you guys. Like I'm saying, Saboteur Bull. So he's a hero that I've never actually used before, but after looking at this, decoy exploding dealing 51 base damage is huge. Like 51 is a lot of damage, and considering that every enemy is going to be huddled around your decoy by the end of its lifespan, that's a pretty good perk. And for that purpose, I might even put him like all the way. Where was he? Is this Saboteur Bill? I was literally just looking at him. I hate this so much, you guys. I feel like a kid who's like taking a test. This is crazy. Oh my god. I'll put him in low B tier because that 51 base damage is huge. I am going to put Krampus up there alongside. Did I already tier him? Dude. This is crazy. All right, Guardian Bill. No, what? Not Guardian Bill. Black Knight Garridan is a D tier easily because Kinetic Overdrive is not that great. I'm going to put the Pirate guy in A tier as well because, let me get into this. His team perk is Blakebeard Stash, and Blakebeard Stash is insanely strong. That is such a good kit, and his cannonball damage, while not insanely useful, 20% isn't mind-blowing. He is paired with a team perk that is extremely meta, so I'm putting him up there as one of the best heroes in the game. And another one that's interesting to consider is a Privateer Bull. She's kind of essential in that loadout, so I'll put her in A, but mark my words, she gives you club damage 17%. It's the only club damage hero in the game, and she's critical to making this build good, but without Blakebeard Stash, she'd probably be like D tier. I'm gonna put her up here just because the pirates are that strong. And while we're getting into that, let's get into, I don't know, we can just start from the left here. What is the name of this one again? I know what she does, but I don't know what she's called. I got my cheat sheet. Dark Vanguard Earhart. She gives you heavy attack energy reduction from hardware, which is useful in the right loadout. I'll put her in low B tier because I've seen it used for like spamming surround pound and stuff, but I think a perk does the same thing, and it's just not that great. We're just going to move on from that because, you know, it's a situational build and I don't value it very high. Let's do Controller. This is Machinist Harper. She gives you trap durability. Absolute S tier for endurance, but this is my tier list. You'll note I'm not an endurance player. I'm gonna put her as an even low B tier just to balance it out. I don't want to upset everybody, but I don't see the value in her in regular missions. She is not necessary whatsoever. But in endurance, it's the only time she's useful. So this is where tier lists get a little murky. I'm also gonna put, I think this is the, no, Gadgeteer was Kevin Bot, right, chat? Help me out. This was Machinist as well. Yeah, I think that's her starter pack hero. Archer mistakenly put those in here, but that's okay. They are reskins of each other. I'm gonna split the difference with the low B tier. Dennis, all right, for unlocking Totally Rockin' Out, he's S tier, but that's more of a Totally Rockin' Out ranking. Axe eliminations causing the Totally Rockin' Out to be active is not very useful, but I ranked Blakebeard the same way, so I'll put him in S tier, but trust me, this is a Totally Rockin' Out S tier. He's necessary for the team perk, so you need him for it, but his perk on its own is kind of useful if you're running axes, but it's not that great. Let's go to, yeah, Director Riggs. I'm gonna put him in F tier. I'm sorry, they tried so hard to make, well, you can put Going Constructor away early now, so that means he's less annoying. So let me just back up all the way. He gives you 20 extra seconds in Going Constructor in the lead, 10% in support. That used to be a deficit because you'd be stuck in Going Constructor for 20 extra seconds, but you can put it away early, which is it's not a very good, I mean, we'll put him in D. It's whatever. Eddie, I'm gonna put in F. He gives you crits from energy weapon damage, goes into like shields or something. It's not if you need to generate shields, there are other options. I'll put him in like D because he's kind of useful sometimes, but yeah. Electropulse, all right, A tier. Electropulse makes it so that when enemies damage your base, they do damage to themselves, and that is A tier for AFKing V-Bucks and just extra damage overall. It's not a lot of damage, otherwise it'd be S tier, but it's that's kind of it. You know, her doing damage is kind of not great. And Thunder Thora is sort of the same deal. Like, she just does damage when enemies are walking on the base. It's nice extra damage, allows you to AFK V-Bucks, but it's not, you know, and I say V-Bucks is in super low tier missions if you're a max level player. It's fun, but not great. Ice King, on the other hand, easy S tier constructor because he freezes enemies when they attack your base in the lead, and they walk slower in support. I use him in support a lot, but if you run him in the commander slot, it's really, really well paired with base Kyle and power base. If 3 of you are running these 3 characters, you're not gonna have walls that are breaking. It's nuts. All right, let's continue on with the heroes I know so that I can do all the research later. Iza, easy S tier. She is essentially one of the best heroes, well, in my opinion, the best hero for support in Blast from the Past because she gives you 30 extra armor. It's wild. It is a lot harder to die with her in support, and I've noticed it when I take her out of support. So easy S tier. I even supercharged her because I put her in that many loadouts. Nox drops landmines behind your bull rush. It's super gimmicky. He's an A tier for fucking around and having a good time. Low C tier for actual usable damage. It's not that strong, honestly closer to D tier, but he's fun, so there's that. Guardian Bull, I believe is what he's called, is you know what, I'll put him in like high A tier for the same reason Demolitionist Penny is up there. And if I can find, okay, so there are a lot of shared pictures, like pennies, for example, all look the same to me. Tank Penny. These give you hardware damage, or hardware crit rating, sorry, and hardware damage from Tank Penny. Very, very, very good for Storm King because you want your hardware to do extra damage against the Horn. And that's pretty much it. If you're not running Storm King, they're not that great, unless you're running a hardware build, of course. But it is really, really good to run Storm King to get some of the best weapons in the game. So for that use case, I'm putting them in A tier, but your mileage may be a lot further down. If you're never running hardware, they're useless. Heavy Base Kyle essentially stacks up damage when enemies are killed on the base, and then every once in a while explodes, dealing damage to everything on the base. He is essentially the same thing as our girls up here. They just make your base do damage, and it's really, really strong. It's not a world-changing amount of damage, but it is really nice to have in support, so I'm putting them up there. I'm going to stick to the heroes I recognize at face value, because from here, Steel Bull Sid, he gives you extra kinetic overdrive damage, which is right next to Black Knight Garridan. It's not that useful. It's nice for him to activate like the boom base ability, but that's pretty much it. We're not talking about boom base here, unfortunately. Let's get into, was this heavy? No, who is this? Power base Kyle. Does he do the same thing as that? No, I don't think he's a base game hero. Can somebody in chat correct me? I don't think power base, heavy base is the base game, like the actual reskin. You put him in the club. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave him down here unless you can tell me what perk he does, because that's not a hero that's regularly in the game. Base MD, I want to say, is like low C tier. No, you know what? D tier. And frankly, because it gives you so little health, it's irrelevant. But if it gave you more health, it would be so nice to just... He's power base Nox? Okay, so I'll tie him right up here. Oh yeah, I recognize him. I have that hero. My goodness. But he's a reskin. Base MD is really good in terms of like healing. It's a nice thing to have, but it's so little health that it basically doesn't matter, and that's kind of it. Kyle the 13th does damage when enemies attack your decoy. I'll put him up here with the decoy heroes. This is Controller Harper, right? Yeah. So he's nice for that, but otherwise, let's get into all of these down here. Like Power Pop, giving you totally rocking out. So I think pretty much every hero remaining is to do with like Rosie and abilities that aren't that good, or, you know, Tank, which I think is his name, Tank, has been broken or useless since day one. I am going to do a flat drop of every single one of these being in D tier, because they're just, every time I looked these up prior to recording this, all of these were let down. All of these heroes were just kind of not great, and nothing that I would really... Actually, I think Sleuth, no, let me double check this, because there is an actual decent one. Let me go to, not starter pack, so we want event people, please. We want to go to Art Deco. There we are. Yeah, I was thinking of Noir. Sleuth is different. He's, yeah, Rosie fire rate increase. It's really not that insane. But Your mileage may vary with some of these last ones. I know I'm kind of taking the lazy route, but again, here's my deal. If I don't immediately recognize a hero, that's a bad sign. And I've been playing this game for a very, very long time, and if none of these heroes immediately stand out to me, I did double check these before recording. They were all within the realm of D tier, and I do fairly well stand by my selections here. So there you go, the Constructor tier list. More to talk about than I thought we'd have. A little hiccup in the middle. I hate not knowing what I'm talking about when it comes to some of these videos, but we are talking about some of the worst heroes in the game, so hopefully you could forgive me for forgetting that section of the game. Comment down below on what tier list you guys would like to see next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Archer for setting this up. I'll see you guys in the next one, and take it easy.